People cannot wait to have the things they want. It's not just that they don't want to wait. It's actually that they think they deserve to have it now. Why do you think Afterpay exists? You want the quick fix. You're buying into the $1 million, do this program, get me as your coach and I'll make you a 7-figure person. That gap between where you are now and that 7-figure income, it is so far away. You need the steps in between for success. People are actually making money off telling you that it's easy to make money. So many thousands of people globally are spending money to try to make money, the quick rich scheme. The thing is that welcome to Life by 8, your blueprint for designing your ultimate life. I'm Rebecca Grugan, your architect on this journey to building a life fully lived. Using our 8 pillars to human wellness framework, we'll explore how to transform your everyday from ordinary to extraordinary. So let's go. You are going to stay broke until you fix this. This is how you actually think and feel about money. When you go to pay for your groceries, how do you feel in your body? Are you somebody who has to go, fuck, I need to check, I need to make sure that I've got enough money in the account? Or you have to transfer money over from a different account because you have like 10 accounts going because you followed the Barefoot Investor like I did back in the day? It happens, right? Depends on what values level you're at. Your money mindset can be affected by that, though it's heavily affected by how you were brought up and how money was perceived or spoken about around you. And so you might be sitting there going, I'm always poor, I never have enough, or like, you know, the bank, the rates have gone back up, I can't afford the mortgage this week. This is the reality for some people. However, when you shift your mindset, it fixes things. And you start to feel not poor. And can I just say that feeling not poor is worth more than the hour you're about to put into listening to this podcast, plus the one you're going to roll on to after because you love hearing what I have to say. You need to know your actual situation. You need to face money. You need to face your relationship with money because until you do, you will stay broke. And I know that you do not like that feeling consciously. But you keep playing out the same patterns that's keeping you in scarcity. An example is that you're currently always worrying about finances and whether you have enough savings or income. Money is one of the biggest things in divorce. It is one of the things that breaks up so many relationships, so many friendships, so many businesses. It's energy, right? If everything's energy, money is a resource. But it is one that rules the world. It is one that runs the economy and the lifestyle that you either choose to have or that you're having to have because of the enoughness. And so when you start to change your attitudes to money, you start to see it differently and you start to learn about it and learn how to play the game. And that's it, right? Life is a game. It's all just about what's the next move? What's my right next choice? You may have, and this is one that a lot of people are like, oh, I'm fear of failure, but it's actually fear of success. The belief, if I become successful, I will lose friends or be judged. I lived this for so long. I would self-sabotage. I would say yes to opportunities and then fail at them just to make sure that I stayed small and that my family would still like me and my friends wouldn't reject me. And it wasn't until I actually decided to go all in on me and being okay to sit at the table by myself and being okay to celebrate having money, it's only then that this belief dissipated, that it went away and that whole feeling or judgment I was making of myself or that fear I was having of success goes away. You've got to get uncomfortable. Sometimes people who have fear of success will say no to business opportunities or they'll say no to career advancements because their fear of outgrowing their partner, their peers, their parents. How is your fear of success ruining your life? How is it keeping you poor? Another one, which I mentioned earlier, it's fear of failure. People think it's this one, but sometimes, a lot of the time, it's fear of success. So if I take risks, I will fail and lose everything. And this is a really strong values level 4 concept, meaning that you should only ever have enough. You should only ever have just enough to get through to your next paycheck. And if you have more, you should give it to other people. And so we're scared of not having that enoughness, of living on that edge, that any more risk, taking any more opportunity to actually fail, we don't want to do it. So we actually avoid investments and the opportunities that may be in front of us, the ideas that we have. We don't start the business. We don't invest in the stocks because of the fear of potential losses. Now, a side note, I am not a financial planner or advisor. So how you or what you do with your monetary resources is up to you. And please get professional advice on that if you are going to look at what you're going to do from an investment point of view. Also, and I've spoken about this in previous episodes that you can either see in the show notes below or have a look at the podcast list. Go back to the self-worth one. It's phenomenal. But so many people have an issue with self-worth, that they don't feel worthy of having money. And so when we don't feel worthy of having it or being wealthy, we undercharge for our services. We don't negotiate our salaries. We just accept yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full, sir. You're lucky to get the 3 bags full. This is the attitude of feeling unworthy, what it can actually mean when it comes to money and how it shows up. And sometimes when you have what seems like excess or more than enough, you find ways to give it away because you don't feel like you are worthy of having it. And so many people will start side hustles or become freelancers in their skills, and they're really, really great at it, but they set their hourly rate or their project rate really low because of fear, because they don't think that they're good enough. And another big one is employees not asking for raises out of fear of losing their job, out of fear of their bosses looking at them like, why do you think you deserve that? When you can look at your self-worth and you can actually detach your net value and external validation from that self-worth, you will no longer be poor. You will fix your issues with money. Some people, depending on what type of environment you grew up in, think that having money is stressful and overwhelming and you've got to do all these things with it and you don't know what to do with it and you're bad with money and so I'm not going to. So you avoid it. You avoid planning for the future. You avoid budgeting, or maybe you do the budget just to make the husband or wife happy, but you never actually refer back to it. And you're at the groceries going, will it go through? Will it go through? If you're actually budgeting properly, if you're actually planning for your future, if you actually face money, you don't have to have this stress. The only reason money is stressful is because you're avoiding it. And so what would happen if you actually took your head out of the sand and you faced it? Because this is the lay of the land. You actually need to know where you're at right now to be able to actually move forward to the life that you want and know that gap. If you don't know that, you're just hoping and praying. That gets you so far, but you actually have to know. When you don't keep track of those expenses, you can end up in debt. You can continue to go on, and you get to situations that you're unaware of where you're actually spending more than you earn. And you may have heard this before as living within your means. When I speak into or when I play with scarcity and abundance, and this is a big topic that a lot of people talk about, right? You're like, how do I not be so scared of money? Or how come abundance doesn't come to me? And it's something that I'm still exploring. But one of the biggest things that has definitely shown up in those who are in scarcity and those who are abundant is the fact that they know their position. They know their truth. They know where they're at. And they're willing to accept that and take responsibility for it and take action. The A4 process. Also, people view money as causing conflict. So if you grew up in a household where your parents always fought about money, you may not get the context of what they were fighting about, but you blame money for it. So you've created this belief that money creates or is a source of conflict between people. That can be in relationships and marriages. That can be in, between an employer and an employee. But money, it just causes problems all the time. It makes people fight. And that might be your experience and your belief, but it is a limiting one, and it's one that's causing problems in your relationship. And by holding that belief, some of the things you may do is you avoid financial discussions with your partner when they try to raise something. You run away, you're like, this is not the right time. And I am speaking from experience. For me, money was a huge issue. It is something that I grew up in a single parent household. I used to have cornflakes with powdered milk for dinner at times. And I know that I feel wealthy, for instance, when I have like 8, 10 different types of cereals in my cupboard. And can I just say, like as a side note here, is that recently I was on a stage in Sydney and I had some of my team on a table there. And it's the first time where I have been in the middle of something. And what I mean by that is on one table were a bunch of young educators who were talking out loud to each other going, she's never had a problem in her life. She doesn't know what it's like to be poor, blah, 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 blah. The thing is, right, on the table next to my team, on the other side, were all owners of childcare centres going, you can't speak on stage like that. I'm not an asshole because I drive an Audi too. Like, it was the first time that I had people judging me either way. And that could be really uncomfortable, though I know that growth is in that uncomfort. And the reason I'm telling you this side note is because money will always create opportunity and potential conflict in your life. And it is your mindset towards it. It's your ability to hold yourself, take responsibility, and choose you. Choose the things that you want. And I've had to get to a point where it's like the more money that I make, the more people I can help. That's only a belief that I've gotten over recently, like this year, being 2024, whenever you're listening to this. And so these mindsets come at you at different times in different ways. And as you move through values levels, they'll come at you in different ways. And I was somebody, and still am at times, somebody who will avoid financial discussions with Paul, my husband, because when we first got together, we had completely different money attitudes. I was somebody who was like, oh, we'll just survive. Like, we'll get through it. Somehow it all just works out. And Paul was a scrimper and a saver and stressed about whether or not we were going to have enough. Yet neither of us had what would be deemed as a successful job. I was sort of between self-employment and side hustles, and he was an alcohol drinking PT, part-time. Yet somehow, we've survived the last 14 years. But what I'm getting at is we actually had to get to a point, because otherwise our money attitudes, our money mindsets were so different that would have caused us to split, and it doesn't have to. So if this is happening in your relationship, know that it's your avoidance that is causing the problem. And if you're the person who's super anxious about money, it's your anxiety around it that's causing the problem. You can separate yourself from it. It doesn't have to be he said, she said. Nobody has to be wrong in this scenario. It's an acceptance piece. And so money doesn't have to cause conflict in a relationship, but what money does do is provide opportunity for growth and to allow you to become closer and build a life together. Do you see how that simple shift in attitude can change? But you're the one who's got to change. I can tell you all the things, you can read all the books. But if you actually want to fix things, this is where you start. It's your money mindset. That is what's keeping you broke. Secret debts, secret credit cards, hidden resentments. These are all behaviours that have potentially you've played out, or partners and people around you have also felt about you. Why are you doing it? What's the purpose? What is your belief? What are you scared of? Because the thing is that having money doesn't have to make you a bad person. If we speak about the belief around money and morality, it's like, I used to have the belief that rich people are assholes. Don't really know where that came from. I've got a feeling it's from my grandmother. People who drive Audis are assholes. Do you know what I did? I went and bought an Audi. Yes, I lean into things very heavily. The things I reject, I lean into. A side note on that though is actually today is officially, so on my birthday in March, somebody hit the back of me. A young girl hit the back of me and my Audi had to go and get fixed. I've now officially had My Audi's been getting fixed for longer than I even had it. Which if we talk about energetics, that's very interesting. Well, if we speak about money and morality, you may, depends what values level you're at, looking at me right now, listening to me right now, you might think I'm an asshole and I drive an Audi, so that might be a belief for you. But I'm telling you, I had that belief. Actually, that's what I was talking about on stage when those two different tables of people were bitching about me in different ways. And so what I did was I went, that can't be true. So I went and bought the Audi, and I don't think I'm an asshole. Actually, I know I'm not, but other people will think that I am. Depends where you're at. So back into it. Hey, stop for a second. I know you're in the middle of building your life. If you want help with that, I can help you. Whether you join our Architect program where it's working with me one-on-one, or our Build group container, which absolutely has incredible value and will help you design and build that life faster. You can also join us to understand and design your energetic blueprint before there's a 1-day, 2-day event. You can join us there too. There is multiple different ways you can work with us at different investment points. We would love to have you there to help you get, design, and build the life that you want faster. You can see the links below. Feel free to reach out in any DM, in any social media platform. I would love to hear from you. Now, get back to building that life. Money is the root of all evil. Did you hear this growing up? Did you feel this growing up? Because sometimes it's not even about what you hear, it's about what you feel. You know, there are some kids out there who earn money from YouTube. They earn money at 10, 11, 12, and their grandparents are rejecting them. Because that's such a waste of time. When are you actually going to do something that serves the world? This is where this belief can come in. And a lot of the time it's subconscious. And so we actually reject wealth because we're worried that if we have wealth, it makes us a bad person. Because in the past, in generations before us, there are things that people who have money did that were morally wrong. There are still people who do that now. But the thing is that there are so many different ways to make money, to create wealth in this day and age with the technology we have and the access to knowledge that our generation has. Generations before us didn't have what we've got in front of us. And so wealth is actually happening a lot younger. And there's also the people who worked hard in the past generations who that generational wealth has been handed down. And so people in this generation of 20 to 40-year-olds at the moment who may have wealth and people are like, oh, a lot of them didn't earn it. They were just given it to by their hardworking parents. Just so you know, there's also the same amount who earned the wealth through creative ways or starting businesses and being entrepreneurs from a young age because they can and they could. But there is also a lot of amazing humans who are talented who do not have the wealth because of the guilt they feel about earning money. And so you are poor because of this type of belief. Is this one of yours? Let me know below if any of these beliefs are resonating with you, because I would love to know, because this is such a big topic for a lot of my clients in my group coaching containers as well as my one-on-one. And a side note, if you want help with this, I can do that for you. Not for you, with you. So if you are somebody who is just like, no, I am not good with money and I can't change that. What this can have is the effect that you don't actually ask for help. You don't even seek it. You don't read the books. You don't do anything. It's just a fixed mindset that you are shit with money. And I had this in relation to, I didn't know how to read a profit and loss. And so I was just like, I'm not good with spreadsheets. I'm not good with business accounts. If I'm having that belief and I'm saying that, what do you think happened? Just think about it. I manifested that. Your fixed mindset, that belief, that's what you're actually creating. And so until you choose to change that, you are going to continue to believe and be bad with money, and nothing's going to change. You're actually probably going to get worse off until you do face yourself, face this belief, change it. And once I did, when I actually accepted the responsibility, so I went through the A4 process, this is years ago, but I went through my A4 process and I actually asked for help. But I was willing, instead of just it came into my awareness, it was a belief I had, and then taking action, I actually went through acknowledgement, I went through acceptance, and I asked for help and I took the action and I changed. And now as I progress through a different values levels transition of 5 and 6 and creating Life by 8 in this new way where its intention is to have this massive impact on humanity, it requires a different level of belief or thinking or knowing and skills and knowledge. And so leaning into the entourage I've created around myself who are experts with money, the resources I have help me make sense of it. It doesn't have to become a belief of I can't do this, I'm not good enough. It doesn't have to become that again. But it changes. As you progress, as you evolve, so will these money mindsets. Because they have to. Otherwise you will stay where you are or you will become worse than you are right now. And if you already think you're broke and poor, imagine what happens if nothing changes. Just imagine. Because if you're sitting there going, I'm bad with money, I'm not good with money, I'm poor, I'm broke, you are literally manifesting that. That is a frequency in which you are operating at. If we want to go into energetics, that means that that's what you're going to attract. And it's not as simple as changing your frequency and vibrations. I understand that people in this sector and industry talk about that. And yes, it does matter, but it's not the only thing. You actually have to work and you actually have to accept and believe it. It's not just say an affirmation in a fucking mirror, dance to a certain song and it'll all come to you. People make more money if they People make more money if they make making money look easy. Try and say that 10 times fast. Or don't, because I couldn't even say it once the first time. But that's what I mean. People are actually making money off telling you that it's easy to make money. And so many thousands of people globally are spending money to try to make money, the quick rich scheme we talk about in humanity, and it's been around since we've evolved in this modern society. The thing is that there's no such thing as passive income. It still requires action. You might have an investment property that is deemed as passive, but the thing is that you still have to take the action to buy the house. You still have to maintain it. You still have to hire the real estate agent or the person or do the work on it, whatever it is that you do. There's no such thing as passive income. And if you are getting money in your account and you don't know where it comes from, probably ask. Because it might be illegal. Money is not passive. And when you can accept that, you can actually start to embody that new frequency that you're operating at, that new vibration that helps with abundance and you getting more. But it's not just as simple as changing your frequency. It's a part of it, but it still requires work. Again, always my own belief. Do with it what you will, but my goal is for more people to actually realize and take responsibility for the fact that you've got to change your mindset. You've got to do the work to get the reward. Okay. I'm also in a world where so many people are living outside of their means. The debt levels that humans have, we are spending money we don't have to buy shit to impress people we don't even like. Like actually. And then because we have the debt, we have to work harder. So we're never actually at the house that we bought to show people how awesome we are. This is and has happened on the rise of social media as more and more personal brands became like, what's the word when you make money from something? I've totally forgotten. Anyway, the point is that what are you actually spending your money on? What is putting you into debt? Because until you ask yourself why, I can tell you that you are buying stuff, you are buying things because you think you need them when actually it's a want. And the reason I can tell you that is if you look at actual poor countries in the world, if you actually look at them, like what that would be deemed poor, how happy are so many of their humans? You are buying things because you think you need them, but you actually want them. The things that you actually need are very, very limited. And so until you take responsibility for the fact that you are choosing to spend money on things to maintain a certain lifestyle for whatever reason that means for you, you will continue to spiral into debt and you will get into a negative state further and further and start to destroy your life. You don't have to hit rock bottom to make a change. This is in your awareness. If you've gotten this far in this podcast, this is now in your awareness. All of these beliefs, all of these limiting beliefs, these mindsets, you likely resonate with one or more of them. So it's in your awareness. You get to choose what you do with that knowledge now. So if we talk about the A4 process, you now get to acknowledge what parts of what I've said are true, what resonates. You get to have discernment to move to acceptance. But there are many of you who are going to treat having this awareness of this knowledge about yourself. You're going to put your head back in that sand. Please don't do it while you're driving. And you're going to ignore what you now know about yourself. I've seen it. It happens almost daily with people I speak to in my community. And then eventually they sit with that and then they decide to acknowledge it and they decide to do something about it. And it's in that decision where their life transforms and changes very, very quickly. But you have to be willing to accept it. You can't blame other people. You can't pretend that you don't know or that I don't have any of these problems. Cool. How's life going for you? Because you wouldn't have got this far in this podcast if none of this resonated with you. If you have no problem with money, if you have all the wealth in the world and you have all the freedom, the only reason you would be here is because you want to know how I'm living the life that I'm living, and maybe you want to bring me down, maybe you want to fucking support me, whatever it is. But for most of you listening to this, something I have said has resonated with you. Otherwise, you would have all the money in the world and everything that you want. So I know that it's in your awareness. What are you going to do next about it? I do not recommend that you go and buy something to make you feel better. How often are you doing that? How many of you are feeling sad and feeling angry or feeling depressed and then you go to the shops to buy stuff to make yourself feel better? How has that become your strategy? Because it is a strategy. It's a coping mechanism. Sometimes we'll drink alcohol. Sometimes we'll do drugs. Sometimes we have these things that numb us so we don't have to actually become to the point of acknowledgement, to the point of acceptance. And that immediate gratification, this is one of the biggest issues we have with this generation, with our society. We don't want to wait for things. Why do you think Afterpay exists? Immediate gratification. People cannot wait to have the things they want. It's almost that they're at a point. It's not just that they don't want to wait. It's actually that they think they deserve to have it now. And what happens when people are buying things that they don't need with money that they don't have? How do you move forward? How do you ever catch up? That lack of savings, that lack of financial planning, that impulse buying, it has you in the situation that you're in. It has you at the grocery store, having to leave the groceries there because you don't have enough money in your account. That's happened to me too. I moved out of home when I was 16. I ate tin soup and buttered Helga's bread for days on end because that's what I could afford at the time. I'm now, at the time, 38, and I was on the Gold Coast for a week for a training last week. Do you know what I did? Just to make sure that I had a reminder, is I booked myself into share accommodation and I stayed in a place where I shared a house, shared a kitchen, shared a bathroom so that I could have gratitude for how far I've come. I could have booked a 5-star hotel, and last year I explored with that. But the thing is that don't forget where you came from. Allow yourself to have gratitude for what you have now that you didn't have in the past. But the thing is, right, is that you don't need things. You want them Do the work to deserve them. Allow yourself to have the patience. The only way out of where you are right now is full acceptance. To look at yourself in the mirror and go, I am the problem and I'm willing to change. It's as simple as that. That's the starting point. Until you do that, you'll continue to make decisions. You'll continue to get further and further into debt. Now, I know that there's a whole vast range of things. There are friends that I've got who've gone through divorces and everything's shifted and changed for them. So I'm not discounting that. But the reality is that you are responsible for the situation you're in right now. And so what can you do? What do you need to do to start shifting your mindset so that you don't have to wait till everything is broken for somebody else to fix it? You get to choose, as always, what is your choice. And so, facing your reality is my number one tip. Do a full audit of all your current financials. I've spoken about the A4 process already. Take yourself through that. You need to face that reality. That is the number one tip. You need to also know, what is future you? Who do you want to be? You need to know the difference. You need to understand that it costs you to be this right now. What is the estimated cost of who you want to be? Because until you know that difference, the universe can't co-create with you and manifest until you know that. Take the estimates. Estimates are fine. It doesn't have to be to the T. But the thing is that you need to know the difference between where you are now and where you want to be. If you want to actually face yourself and you want to do that exercise between where you are now and the future you, in the show notes, you'll be able to find our resource. It's free. Download it and have a go at it. And if you have any questions or you just want to share your findings, DM me. I'm open to have the conversations. I love communication. And so once you complete that, then you start to change your money stories because you faced your reality. You know the difference between where you are now and where you want to be. Then you start to change your mindset. You start to eliminate the limits on your beliefs. You start to get new beliefs. You start to install new programs that you choose. And there are so many free resources about this. We have stuff on our financial pillar with Life by 8, but search YouTube. Have a look. You do not have to spend money to make money, even though that's a belief that we hear a lot. That in context is true. However, in this case, if you are poor and not able to pay for groceries, you can get the knowledge for free. You have access to so many resources. So find it. And if you do need someone to hold your hand and you can't afford a coach, there are agencies out there that can help you as well. And if you have got the resources but you just don't know what to do, this is where you can get a coach. This is where you can invest in people who know what they're doing or certain types of resources that are going to help you to get to where you want to go. Allow yourself the discernment to know what you need. Don't be sold to here. 4, make small changes towards the new behaviors you need. One of the biggest things I did when I was coming out of the old stories I used to tell myself is I remember the first time I got to fill up my fuel tank and not just put $20 in. I can remember it like it happened yesterday. And the feeling of abundance you get when you realize that you don't have to do 3 stops at the servo because you were able to put a full tank of fuel in, that new behavior was a massive imprint into my money mindset, into the person I've become. And that's what I mean about small changes. That's abundance to me. Having cereal, whatever your health, you can, nutritionists, dietitians, you can let me know how bad it is. I already know. But for me, having cereal in the cupboard is an abundance feeling for me. It doesn't have to be about the $1 million. And that's the thing, right? You want the quick fix. So you're buying into the $1 million, do this program, get me as your coach and I'll make you a 7-figure person. If you are not able to pay for your groceries, that gap between where you are now and that 7-figure income is too far. It is so far away. You need the steps in between for success. You need to change your behavior and you need to be motivated to do so. And celebrate all money that comes into your life, even the 10 cents you find on the ground. All of it. Celebrate it all. Because when you celebrate money, it feels good, you feel good, you change your frequency, you change your vibration, and those manifestations that you're talking about and those affirmations that you might be doing, it all starts to come to fruition. And that's all that it takes. Facing yourself, that's where it starts. And so, let me know what your thoughts are. What money mindsets do you have? What limitations, what limiting beliefs are holding you back from having the life that you want, from keeping you in scarcity and avoiding abundance? You deserve to have everything that you desire and want, but you have to be willing to look yourself in the eyes and say, it starts with me. As always, thank you for being here. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me living life by 8. If this episode hit home, brought value to you in any way, I would love your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite platform too. And don't let your journey end here. Connect with me and my community at Rebecca Grugan on all social platforms. I look forward to going deeper with you on your journey.